iPhone accessibility. Explore the screen with VoiceOver.
In the last video I talked about starting VoiceOver, and once you have it started you then can begin to explore the screen and find out what's on it. And there's a number of ways you can do that. When VoiceOver is not working, you see what's on the screen, you touch the thing you want and it activates. When VoiceOver is on, you can't see what's on the screen, of course. And when you touch something, VoiceOver simply tells you what you've touched, so it identifies where you are. And then to activate it, we'll deal with that in the next video. So one thing that you can do is just go around the screen, touching things.
Safari.
And
actions available.
And VoiceOver tells you what it is that you touched, and then if you wait for a half a second or so, quarter of a second, it then gives you a bit more information, which again I'll explain in a later video. If you know where something is on the screen, or you have enough vision to be able to see the icons and recognize the one that you want, then tapping is a really good way of getting to what you want very quickly. If you can't see well enough to identify the icons, or you don't know where something is, another alternative is to explore the screen, and by this I mean you just put your finger on the screen and move it around, and as you do so, VoiceOver will talk you through the things that you're touching. So let me just demonstrate this.
Remind message 3 of 5 bars. Signal strength. Status bar item.
So, as you heard there, VoiceOver tells you as you're touching things, and as you move from one thing to the next, it kind of moves with you and reports what you've last touched. So the explore gesture is a great way of moving around again when you know where things are, or you've got an idea where things are, or you want to find out. If I want to know what's at the top of the screen or at the bottom of the screen, explore will allow me to do that. However, if I'm on a screen where there's not very much on it, or a screen that I'm not familiar with, then the explore can still take quite a long time to investigate the whole screen. So a third way that you can find out what's on the screen, or move around what's on the screen, is to use something called the flick gesture. The flick gesture is so called because it's like flicking something off a shirt sleeve. You basically move your finger above the level of the screen, so you're not touching it. You move it left to right or right to left quite fast, and you very briefly touch the screen as you're moving. So I'm just going to tap one of the icons on the screen.
Messages. Actions available.
And I'm now going to do a flick gesture.
Camera. Actions available.
And what happens then is that VoiceOver moves from one thing to the next thing. The trick with the flick gesture, if you could see what I did just there, the VoiceOver focus is at the top of the screen. The VoiceOver focus is indicated by a white line around the thing that VoiceOver last spoke. And at the moment it's at the top of the screen. I did that flick gesture towards the bottom of the screen, and it still acted on the VoiceOver focus. And this is the great thing about the flick. You don't need to know where things are on the screen to be able to move between them. It's a very powerful gesture, but it is quite tricky to learn, especially if you can't watch somebody else do it, because that's the way many of us learn how to do these, is somebody shows us it. What I have discovered, apart from just describing the flick gesture, one way that you might be able to show somebody how to do it is to suggest they put their finger right at the edge of the screen and then move it rapidly all the way to the opposite edge.
Photos. Actions available.
And although I said you only touch the screen briefly, when you do that completely left to right or completely right to left, it does actually do the same thing as a flick gesture, and that's a really powerful way of finding out what's on the screen. In the next video, we'll talk about what you can do once you've found what you want on the screen, how you activate it. But in the meantime, enjoy.